the Yankees. It's a
Now
different.
They're both a disaster at the exact same time, but no, that will never be the case. But Steve, I got to give you credit. You told us last time you were here, you said as soon as the situation at ESPN becomes official, you would come back on. And I looked at my calendar, and a couple of days later, it said, "Boom, Stephen A is back on the calendar."
Yeah, there we go. I'm here. I told
you. The internet says that you wanted Max Kellerman off the program. I saw him say goodbye the other day. You called in. You had a sleep apnea surgery, which I want to get into a little bit just to learn a little bit about you a little bit more. But it didn't seem like you and Max had a bad relationship at all. So where do those rumors come from? And what's the truth with the departure of Max Kellerman from First Take?
Well, the rumor's accurate in terms of me wanting him off the show. Let's get that out the way. Yes, I did. We don't have a bad relationship. I think he's a real good guy. I appreciate what he did for the show. We were number one for 5 years. We stayed number one, and I appreciate that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the work that goes into doing the show every single day. And the reality is that we have 15 segments a day, 75 segments a week. Over 3,000 takes a year. In the 9 years that I've been on First Take, I've given over 33,000 takes. And what a lot of people don't realize is that not just the work that goes into that, but also the fact that it's a chemistry that you have, and sometimes it just stalls. And the audience lets you know that it is what it is, and you feel the need for something fresh. You feel the need to retool. And the reason why I'm unapologetic about my position is that, number one, there's no knock against him personally, his professionalism, his work ethic, and all of that other stuff, his talent. It's not like I wanted the guy to be fired or anything like that. I knew that there were landing spots for him available at this network that would generate just as much, if not more, revenue for him and all of that other stuff. And it wasn't really about asking him to be off the show. It was about the fact that I knew that we together, as far as I was concerned, was not a great partnership anymore. And that was something that needed to change. And we cover the world of sports. And this is where I maybe I stand on an island all by myself in saying this, but I'm absolutely flabbergasted that people would react the way that they do in terms of stuff like this, because we covered the world of sports. Yes, Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Pete, Ebro, they're an aberration because they're returning all 22 starters and their entire coaching staff and all of that stuff. And John Madden did that as well. But when you're trying to win and win for a long period of time, you don't stand still. Championship squads change all the time. And so for me, I remember in 2012 where First Take was on the verge of cancellation, and Skip Bayless asked me to come on board. And I come on board, and a month later, we go number one. That 9 years ago. And we were number one for 4 years. And then Max comes on board, and we number one for 5 years. Well, that means I've been number one for 9 years. It means I got a pretty good idea about what I'm doing when it comes to this show and what's necessary in order for it to work. And so for me, when I first spoke to Max about stuff years ago, I said, Joe, man, we doing this more than 3 years together. It's a problem, because I'm always looking to expand, to move on, to diversify my portfolio and to make things happen. And you'll be hard pressed for me to say to you after 3 years, we should be together for longer than that. Let's ride this wave. Let's be number one, and we'll go from there. Well, we weren't number one for 3 years. We extended it to 5.
What I hear you saying is that you believe change is how you keep things fresh.
Yep.
You believe you're basically saying that no one is permanent on First Take. Whatever it takes to keep it fresh is what's going to happen.
Yes. This
has nothing to do with Max. This has everything to do with how you see keeping things fresh and entertaining.
Absolutely. And then not only that, it also wasn't my decision. I gave my recommendation. They ask it, I tell it. Every single year when the season, when the NBA season comes to an end, the bosses ask me where I stand. And for the last 3 years, I said, this is where I stood. And not only
So
did
you've
I,
been consistent with the position that we need to
yeah,
evolve the program. We need a new energy for the last 3 years. But
not
they're
just,
going to take your recommendation, right? Or
not, well, let me say this to you. Not just that. I also told Max that.
right.
And how did Max react to that?
He disagreed with me. And he disagreed with me 3 years ago. He disagreed 2 years ago. He disagreed this time. We've always understood where we stand with each other. And he also knew that it was nothing personal and it was nothing against him as a talent. I got a lot of respect for Max, and I genuinely like Max as a person. But I just didn't feel that, moving forward, he and I together was the right call. And I said that to the bosses. They disagreed with me a few times in the past. Evidently, this time they understood and they made the.
Attention. This is an important message for anyone diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or any other form.
No one will ever accuse you of holding back, Stephen A. So let's keep it real. Let's keep this moving. Sure. How did you do on Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, they say I did great. Let's go with that.
I want to know, did they ask you back? Yes. That's the tell.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Then you did. So you did damn good then.
But I want to know how Stephen A. felt about it. How did you think?
The honchos at Jimmy Kimmel, along with the honchos at Disney, were incredibly happy with what I did, and they said that they want me to do it more because they know I want my own late night show. They know I'm unapologetic about that, whether it's network television or an outlet like Hulu. They know they know exactly where I stand and how I feel and what my aspirations are. But that was my first time ever doing it. And so when people say you need more reps, you need more practice, let's see what you can do if you're doing this continuously. Having a big night one night is a real big plus, but let's see if you can do that again. That's where their mentality is. We'll see what happens. There are no guarantees. Nobody's made any promises to me or anything like that, but they know where my heart lies. And they know that I don't stand still, that I'm constantly looking to evolve and get better and upgrade my quality of life as it pertains, not just to money or anything like that, but the actual job you go in to do every day. It's incredibly important to me at this particular moment in time of my life to just have a good time, man. There's so much stuff that's going on in the world, and there's so many things that can bring you down. But when you are in front of that camera, you got to bring something to the table. And with me, it's not just my knowledge, it's my passion for what I do. And when I'm not passionate, that's also evident. And when it's not there, people are going to notice, they're going to talk about it, and it's something that could ultimately damage you in terms of your future aspirations. And I'm never going to let that happen with me if I can help it. And so for me, the thought of doing late night is something that I enjoy thoroughly. I'm after it. I'm unapologetic about it. I'm going for it. And hopefully they'll have me back to do more of those things. And hopefully someday in the near future, I'll be hosting a late night show. Make no mistake about it, I'm going for it. And I'm not talking about going for it. I'm not talking about going for it at the expense of First Take. I ain't leaving First Take. I got 4 years to go on First Take. And I'm going to fulfill my commitment to First Take, whether I get a late night show or not. But I'm going for a late night show. It's what the hell I want to do. And
you're going to have to start sleeping better. Let me just tell you right now, as your friend, you know what I'm saying? You want to do all these jobs and everything, Stephen. That's cute. But you're going to have to start sleeping better.
Well, I will tell you this. There's nowhere to go but up, because I've been suffering from sleep apnea all my adult life. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that, for those that don't know, it's basically your tongue is collapsing in the back of your throat once it gets relaxed and you're resting, and it blocks your passages, your breathing passages. But what can make it worse and even significantly more dangerous is when you don't have oxygen and air going through those nostrils. And so when I spoke to y'all, right around that week or so, they discovered when I went to the doctor that I had like 90% blockage in my nostril. And so as a result of that, they decided that they needed to operate on me. And so that was why I told y'all, I would come back on. I couldn't come back when the whole Max news came down and all of that stuff. And people were like, where's Stephen A? Where's Stephen A? Well, I was at St. Francis Hospital in Long Island getting my damn nostrils operated on. I was hospitalized for a day and a half. I had 2 big splinters from the tip of my nose all the way up between my eyes, placed on both sides of my nostrils and all of that other stuff. And it was essentially surgery to open, to to address the septum and to open up my breathing passages and what have you, so I can breathe through my nostrils while I'm getting some sleep and stuff like that. So for the most part, it works because all of these years, I would tell you, for at least the last 25, 30 years, I can count the days on one hand that I did not wake up with a migraine. So I would wake up every day, I'd have migraines, and I would have to work my way through it. And so for me, the toughest part I've passed. In other words, it can't get much worse than it has been the last 25, 30 years. I'm hoping the surgery works. They say that it takes about 6 weeks to really kick in and all of that other stuff. And we'll see what happens, because the surgery was just three weeks ago or so. And I'm working through it, and I expect to be better than ever.
Well, look, I know one thing. You're gonna be a little more nicer. We're gonna get a nicer Stephen A. Smith. See,
arrested
look, he's already
Stephen
smiling.
A. Yeah.
Arrested, less emotional, nicer Stephen A. Smith. I don't know if the world's prepared for this.
I think you're wrong. I actually happen to believe I'm a very nice guy. Really, I've always believed I'm a very nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
John Thompson, the late great John Thompson, former coach at Georgetown, I think that he encapsulated me and what I'm about a long time ago. He said he was hosting his radio show in DC with Doc Walker and those guys, and he finished the interview. He said, "This is what I love about Stephen A. You want to know how he feels? Just ask him." It's really that simple. And so for me, people talk about hot takes, or people talk about, well, Stephen said this, and they attach a headline for clickbait material and all of this other stuff. When people ask me a question, I answer them. I give them an honest answer, period. Now, I'm not going to debate people for free. People try to come up to me on the streets, in the supermarket, whatever the case may be. I'll be like, stop right there. I get paid to debate. I ain't doing that for free. You cancel that. But you ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. And that's me. And that's all.